Yes, sir.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate it. Senator Reese.
Mr. Chairman, and Madam Chairman, thank you for giving me just a few moments. And we have some citizens that want to speak here today. Some may be rather brief. And I'm not going to really ask you a lot of questions because we had a conversation yesterday in Calcasieu Parish, Brad and Johnny. What was our recommendation to you in Calcasieu Parish at our meeting yesterday about today's meeting?
Well, that it was going to be very difficult, first of all. But you mean that you had rather had Altice executives here?
My recommendation was to have some key decision makers from Altice here to answer the questions of this panel and this community. And I think one of the reasons this has carried on longer and that it's been a struggle is because we don't have those people. I have nothing against anybody at this table. I don't really have anything against anybody in the company. Mr. Lee, you have done an excellent job with the resources you've been given to try to provide good service to the legislators that you've spoken to. I believe that you are passionate about your job and you're passionate about the people that work under you and you're passionate about returning good service to your customers. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think that your company has provided you inadequate resources to provide a service to these citizens. One of the things I pointed out yesterday is that many citizens across my rural area pay more for their service to Suddenlink than they pay for their power company. But let me tell you something about my district and power companies. I'm serviced by SWEPCO, CLECO, Beauregard Electric, and Entergy. Immediately after this storm, when the winds died down below 30 miles an hour, they had thousands of workers on the ground from the top of my district to the bottom of my district. And 22 days in, they have very few customers left in my district that don't have power restored. And I think part of the problem is that you report that you have 90% of your customers back online. And if that's what key decision makers in your company are hearing, they probably feel like that's a pretty good looking plan and a pretty good looking response in Louisiana. But you have 89% still without service in the impacted storm area. And that's not good performance. And it's not what these citizens deserve. I can tell you my personal experience real quickly, and I need to let the mic go so we can have some of our citizens speak. There was not good service in continuing maintenance of your equipment prior to the storm. And I'll just tell you this: there's a 3-mile route that I drive on a state highway on my way home. For about 10 years, there have been 4 big pine trees laying on a piece of fiber. On poles that only your fiber rests on, and it's always kind of an ongoing joke, when's the next storm going to finally take this down? Well, this was the one that did it. Finally took it down. You could see through the wood holding up those posts because it was so rotten at the bottom. I mean, there was no pre-existing line maintenance in that area, limited pre-existing line maintenance in that area that has contributed, I believe, to this problem over time. Prior to the storm, we were having issues because despite having the franchise agreements across our region, you had made corporate decisions to close a customer service center in Leesville, close one in DeRidder, close one in Sulphur, further limiting our citizens' capacity and ability to go reach somebody when they had a problem. And that's been, I think, one of the most frustrating things. What I wished I had done at the beginning of this, and I'd rather not be a comedian about it, but what I wished I had done is given my account number to Johnny, given Johnny the 1-800 number that my citizens have to call, set a table up over here and a timer, and let's just see how long it took him to turn in the fact that I still don't have the service at my own house or at my own business. And that's the same kind of problem that all of our citizens are experiencing. And Mr. Chairman, I don't think we would have been here long enough for Johnny to resolve that on the telephone in this committee hearing today. So I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because the people that I have to answer to and represent the interest of in this body are very frustrated as well. They want to get their lives back together. And they saw these utility companies come in here and swarm the problem and fix the problem and return the power to their communities, but they can't get their kids to class virtually. They can't get their businesses back online. We had a 5-minute window today that we had some decent Suddenlink coverage, and my secretary called and said, hey, now would be the time to come try to run payroll. And by the time we kind of got started, it went down again. So we had a tech in there trying to switch us to AT&T so we could try to get payroll checks out without having to do it manually again. We have a problem, and it existed prior to this storm. And Mr. Lee, I believe that you wholeheartedly are the right man on the job, and I believe if your company resources you properly that you'll be able to respond and get it repaired. But I think it's been inadequate to date. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I would just yield back my time and look forward to the testimony from our citizens.
Thank you. We are getting close. Representative Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a guest today.